There's a supplement sitting in almost every gym bag that's been studied more than almost anything else in sports nutrition. And it turns out it might do more for how you age than for how you lift. It's cheap, it's not a fad, and it's not new. It's creatine. And when you pair it with something equally unglamorous, enough natural protein, you get what some researchers are now calling one of the most practical anti-aging strategies available. Not because it erases wrinkles, because it protects the two things that actually determine how old you feel: your muscles and your brain. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this combination matters, how much you actually need, and the mistakes that make people quit before they see results. Here's the uncomfortable truth about aging. It's not really about your skin, it's about muscle. Starting around age 30, most people begin losing muscle mass every single decade, a process called sarcopenia, and it quietly accelerates after 60. Less muscle means a slower metabolism, weaker bones, higher fall risk, and less resilience when illness hits. This is arguably the most underrated driver of what we call getting old. The good news, this process is heavily influenced by two things you control directly: how much protein you eat, and whether your muscles have the raw materials to repair and grow. That's exactly where creatine and protein come in, and they work through two completely different mechanisms that complement each other. Today we're covering 4 things: what creatine actually does in your body beyond the gym, why protein needs change as you age, exactly how much of each you need, and the biggest myths keeping people from using either one. Stick around for the protein number in section 2. It's higher than most guidelines suggest, and there's a good reason why. Section 1. What creatine actually does. Creatine isn't a steroid, and it's not experimental. It's one of the most heavily researched supplements in existence, with decades of safety data behind it. Here's the mechanism. Your muscles store energy in a molecule called ATP, but you only have enough for a few seconds of intense effort before it runs out. Creatine helps rapidly regenerate that energy supply, which is why it's traditionally associated with strength and power output. But here's what's changed the conversation recently. Creatine also draws water into muscle cells, supports protein synthesis, and, this is the part that surprises people, appears to have effects in the brain, where it's involved in cellular energy production for neurons. Some research has explored creatine's role in cognitive function, particularly under conditions of stress, sleep deprivation, or in older adults, since brain cells are energy hungry and creatine supports that same energy system there as it does in muscle. Section 2. Why protein needs change. As you age. Here's something most nutrition labels never tell you. The standard recommended protein intake was designed to prevent deficiency in young, healthy adults, not to optimize muscle maintenance as you age. As we get older, our muscles develop something researchers call anabolic resistance, meaning it takes more protein per meal to trigger the same amount of muscle protein synthesis that a younger body would get from a smaller amount. In plain terms, your body becomes less efficient at using protein to build and maintain muscle, so the old standard guidelines undershoot what's actually needed. This is why many researchers in this space now recommend closer to 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for older adults, noticeably higher than the general population guideline, with some experts pushing that even higher for people who are actively resistance training. Just as important as the total amount is distribution. Getting 25 to 40 grams of quality protein per meal, spread across 3 or 4 meals, appears to be more effective at stimulating muscle protein synthesis than getting the same daily total concentrated mostly at dinner, which is the common pattern for a lot of people who eat a small breakfast and a large evening meal. Just as important as the total amount is distribution. Getting 25 to 40 grams of quality protein per meal, spread across 3 or 4 meals, appears to be more effective at stimulating muscle protein synthesis than getting the same daily total concentrated mostly at dinner, which is the common pattern for a lot of people who eat a small breakfast and a large evening meal. Section 3. The actual protocol creatine dosing. The most researched and widely recommended maintenance dose is 3 to 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day, taken consistently. Timing relative to workouts appears to matter far less than people assume. You don't need a loading phase of higher doses. It just gets you to saturation faster, but the same steady state level is reached either way within about 3 to 4 weeks of consistent daily use. Creatine monohydrate specifically is the form with the overwhelming majority of research behind it. More expensive or advanced forms haven't been shown to outperform it, so there's little reason to pay more. Protein targets, practically speaking. For a 70 kilogram, about 155-pound adult, that 1.2 to 1.6 gram per kilogram range translates to roughly 85 to 110 grams of protein per day. Spread across 4 meals, that's about 20 to 28 grams per meal. Roughly 3 eggs, or a palm-sized piece of chicken or fish, or a cup of Greek yogurt with a scoop of cottage cheese. The part that makes this actually work: resistance training. Neither creatine nor protein does much on its own without a stimulus for your muscles to respond to. Creatine amplifies the results of resistance training. It's not a replacement for it. 2 to 3 sessions per week of resistance exercise, even bodyweight-based training for those newer to it, is what allows the extra protein and creatine to actually get used for muscle maintenance rather than just being processed and excreted. Hydration matters more with creatine. Because creatine draws water into muscle cells, adequate water intake becomes more important. This is also likely why some people report minor water retention when starting, which typically levels off and isn't a sign of anything concerning. Section 4. Myths that stop people from using this. Myth 1. Creatine damages your kidneys. This myth largely comes from the fact that creatine slightly raises a lab marker called creatinine, which is sometimes used to assess kidney function. But this is a measurement artifact from creatine metabolism, not actual kidney damage. For people with normal kidney function, long-term studies have not shown creatine to be harmful. As always, anyone with pre-existing kidney disease should talk to a doctor first. Myth 2. It's only for bodybuilders. Given what we just covered about muscle preservation, cognitive energy metabolism, and sarcopenia prevention, this may actually be more relevant for someone in their 50s or 60s trying to stay independent than for a 22-year-old trying to add muscle for aesthetics. Myth 3. I get enough protein from a normal diet. None of this is about chasing a number on a bathroom scale or trying to look younger. It's about a slower, quieter kind of aging. One where you can still carry your own groceries, get up off the floor without thinking about it, and keep your independence longer. Creatine and adequate protein won't reverse time, but the research suggests they can meaningfully change how your muscles and possibly your brain hold up against it. If this changed how you think about aging, subscribe for more evidence-based breakdowns like this one, and tell me in the comments, are you already taking creatine? Or is this the video that convinces you to start?